so good. I mean, Louis is a player that we've been following in the EU region for quite a while. Shohei, of course, is just an amazing Japanese player. Winning the World Championships in 2023, if I'm not mistaken, and is so consistent as a player. But also, I love watching Shohei because he's always so excited about it. Like, every single time that you see him live, he's always just got a big smile on his face.
Yeah, I think that kind of pairing in round one really speaks to the incredible overall skill level of the players here. That is just a round one pairing that we're going to get.
Yeah.
And we will have so many more matches like that throughout the entire course of this tournament. But you could tell me that was top 8, top 4 finals, and I would say, yeah, that's expected.
Maybe it will be. Who knows? I mean, yeah, that's the difficult thing about seeing these players at 0-0 playing up against each other. It's like, well, this could be a top cut match, but actually, well, it's round one. One of them's going to be going 0-1, and when you look at the standings, you look at 0-1, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1. It's like, well, they're having a pretty okay day. But then you look back at their schedule, it's like, oh, it was that match that started them off on that journey. Now they're coming up towards phase 2. So we got a lot of day to get through, of course, for our Swiss rounds of phase 1. But yeah, we couldn't have asked for a better start to this event for a side stream.
I just feel sorry for the poor sucker who has to play the loser of that in round 2. You just lost your first round. Just lost your first round. You're slightly worried about your next one. You know, if you lose another one, you're at 0-2. That's a tricky position to come back from. Then you look at your pairing on Arcanine, and it comes up as either Shohei Kimura or Louis Fontvieille.
Okay, so we're getting straight into this match. Here we go. No, this is past leads. We've got a little bit of a mid-game thing going on. Shadow Ball going into this full Corona and picking up the KO. Now, we'll just figure out what's going on across these games. Maybe we'll get to have a little look at team preview in the between game 1 and game 2. But at the moment, that snarl on our Chaladon is looking like it's going to be pretty effective here. Shohei versus Louis. What a brilliant start.
Absolutely incredible first round. And we're seeing Shohei, I'm imagining I can probably figure out what the rest of his team is. Oh, apparently we've had a bit of an error, so we're going to come back to that match in a second. But Shohei looking like, I feel like I can probably guess what 6 Pokemon are on his team just based on the Goldengo and the Ursaluna.
All right, 6 Pokemon, go.
It's going to be Goldengo, Ursaluna, Maushold, Annihilate. Oh, what are the back 2? I played with this team so much. I've used this team myself.
I'm putting you on the spot now. It was the Frankfurt team.
It was. Oh, I could open up my copy of. I'll do that right now. I will get my Switch. I'm opening up my copy of Pokemon Scarlet, and I'm finding this team in my game. I'm opening up my Switch right now.
Okay, love to see that. So, okay, we got 4 of the Pokemon. And Louis, I wouldn't be surprised to be seeing the same composition that Tier Team was running in Lille, the Basculegion, Volcarona, Ursaluna kind of composition. But they did have an Archaladon, actually, which is completely different from what was seen in that top 2 finish from Tier Team in Gdansk. So maybe it is something different. And this Snarl Archaladon is something that we actually saw coming to the fore quite a lot, with the ability to actually not go for Electro Shot and just say, Archaladon's a good Pokemon. I'll use every other tool that it has available to it, rather than trying to lean too much into this Electro Shot kind of thing going on.
Yeah, Electro Shot, obviously a very, very strong move. And speaking of Archaladon, we do have, looks like leads again. We have Dragonite and Archaladon. Maybe an indication that... Oh, have we swapped?
Oh, we might be right at the start of the game. We might be right at the start of the game. Well, so we've got Dragonite, Archaladon out here. Goldengo and Rillaboom.
On our side, right?
We're seeing from Shohei's... Oh, yes. Yes.
I presume we're seeing from...
We are seeing from Louis' side. So there's a fake out going into the Dragonite, stopping it from attacking this turn. There's the Shadow Ball, follow up from the Goldengo there. We get to see if it's a Life Orb, looking like a Life Orb based on that damage, but it could even be a Choice Specs. there. Wouldn't be surprised. No, there's the life orb coming out from the Golden Go, and the Snarl dropping the special attack of the Golden Go, so making sure that it's not going to hit as hard as it would otherwise. But Matt, it's already knocked out a Dragonite. It's already done pretty well for itself.
Yeah, not a bad... Oh, it looks like we are in fact just picking up where we were before. So, judging by this position, not a great game one position for Louis at the moment, with a sleeping Volcarona and an Archaludon against whatever Shohei's got left in the back.
Yeah, so the Rillaboom coming out here and coming into that Ursaluna, and I think this is the turn that we saw just a moment ago there, with the Archaludon going for the Snarl, and the Shadow Ball coming into this Volcarona, even with its special attack drop, is enough to pick up the KO onto the Volcarona and just force Louis to have his Pokemon not feeling quite as nice in front of these two big special attackers. But Archaludon's keeping on with the Snarl pressure. It's doing pretty good damage to the Golden Go overall, and might make this Archaludon pretty difficult to take down.
Yeah, Archaludon is one of those Pokemon where, like you said, even if it's not using Electro Shot, it's just got a lot of stats. So when you're running something like the Assault Vest item to patch up its slightly less good special defense, it's very, very hard to take down. And the problem is, if you hit it too much, its stamina ability is going to give it a lot of defense boost, which means it'll power up its body press, and it'll make it very, very difficult for something like this Rillaboom to make a dent into it.
Okay, so now we're getting the Terra option coming out on the Ursaluna, going for Terra Electric. This is the common defensive leftovers Yawn set that we've come to know and love here. Draco Meteor going into the Rillaboom, but shrugging it off completely and not going to be taking that much damage at all. The Yawn coming out from this Ursaluna. So Ursaluna protecting itself defensively from a body press that could have been coming out from the Archaludon, and making sure that it could get that Yawn off this turn with a bit of fake out support from the Rillaboom to make sure that it goes to sleep without doing anything else, and that Shohei can reposition.
Yeah, exactly. Archaludon, like we said, very difficult to get through, but if you can put it to sleep, and it's the only Pokemon left on the field, you can just chip it down eventually. We see a fake out coming out, which is going to cause that Archaludon to flinch. We do have the names the right way around now on stream as well. Louis on our side. And we see the Golden Go coming back in, trying to reposition to get some special attack in front of this Archaludon. Get rid of the special attack drop on the Ursaluna from that Snarl. This position looking very, very strong for Shohei now.
I think so, especially since that you can just swap that Rillaboom out. That's not going to be doing too much damage. It's there for fake out pressure at this point. Bring in the Ursaluna. That's going to threaten a big Earth power. And here's the nasty plot on the Golden Go. So this is the one turn where you're guaranteed that the Archaludon is not going to wake up. So Shohei can get it boosted, Golden Go boosted up, so that it only has to hit once. So it's almost the same as going for Shadow Ball twice in a row without the chance for a special attack drop or special defense drop or a critical hit in the middle. But it means that if this Archaludon stays asleep for longer, you're going to overall be doing more damage.
And it doesn't look like we're going to find out how long this Archaludon would be asleep for. Looks like Louis is going to forfeit this game one. Like you said, that nasty plot, if you click nasty plot and then Shadow Ball, that's the same damage as clicking Shadow Ball twice, but you don't give the Archaludon a boost, and your next Shadow Ball is hitting a lot harder. Louis saying, yes, okay, that game not winnable anymore with a sleeping Archaludon into all the resources that were still left on Shohei's side. That is going to be game one in Shohei's favor. But we've seen people come back from a game down before. Louis, a very, very accomplished player. And it looks like he does have tools. That Archaludon, we didn't see much of that game, obviously, but the Archaludon looked like it was getting a little bit tricky to take down. And Archaludon is a Pokemon that's kind of difficult to leave alone. A lot of the time, these very defensive Pokemon, you can maybe leave them alone, hit the partners, and we are seeing the teams now coming up on stream. I was wrong about Shohei's Pokemon, actually. He's not running the Mousehold Ursaluna team that he has done before. Instead, we have got Incineroar and Volcarona in those two slots. The Grassy Seed
Clear Amulet.
Clear Amulet Incineroar, something we've seen on Hard Trick Room teams a lot recently. Grassy Seed Volcarona, we've seen that win Gdansk. A bit of a mishmash of sets from different teams, but it's 6 very good Pokemon.
You know what? sometimes that's the best way to come about team building. It's like, well, that worked on that team, that worked on that team. Let's smush them together and see if they all work together. Louis on the other side of the field, a little bit more consistent there in terms of the Ursaluna Archaladon. You've got some screen support there with the Grimmsnarl, but then you've got that big damage potential with the specs on the Golden Ghost. So really like Louis' team composition as well. And Citrus Berry on the Volcarona, I'm kind of wondering if that's more HP, getting an extra 25 HP. Is that more or less damage than Grassy Seed would help you survive from attacks? You know, it's depends on the Pokemon that are targeting into it, doesn't it?
It does. And it also, if you don't have a Rillaboom on your own team, a little bit hard to use that Grassy Seed effectively.
Yeah.
Louis opting for a very defensive team in a lot of aspects with the Grimmsnarl and the Archaladon, but those screens that Grimmsnarl's going to be setting up, the Reflect and the Light screen, are going to be used to try and set up this Volcarona in some instances with Quiver Dance behind the Reflect and the Light screen. Very, very difficult to take down that Volcarona, especially when it has that Citrus Berry, as you mentioned, healing it back up. But we do see that Volcarona now coming out on lead alongside the Ursaluna for Louis into the Rillaboom and Dragonite on Shohei's side.
Yeah, so it looks like we're getting things off to a question mark in terms of how this game kicks off. Does the Dragonite get a big scale shot into the Volcarona or Ursaluna? Is there a fake out coming out from the Rillaboom, or is Shohei going to decide to just go straight on the offensive with a Wood Hammer? Because this is the one turn when the Rillaboom's at full HP, it can take a Heat Wave from the Volcarona. That gives it the option to go on the offensive. But speaking of going on the offensive, Ursaluna from Louis, Terra Normal, kicking things off. It's got the Life Orb, it's got the Terra Normal, its Blood Moon is going to be doing an unbelievable amount of damage here. Grassy Glide kicking us off. There's a Tailwind coming out from the Volcarona. So will this Blood Moon be able to pick up a KO on the Rillaboom? Coming down into it now, and the Rillaboom hanging on with just a sliver.
That's a big survival there from Rillaboom. We are going to see the Scale Shot now coming out into the Ursaluna. Probably not going to be enough to pick up the KO. The important question is, how fast are these Pokemon trained? Because this Rillaboom does have the option of going for a Grassy Glide, for example, into the Ursaluna to pick it off. But Rillaboom's very low on health, so Volcarona can potentially knock that out this turn. And if it does, if the Dragonite is not faster than this Ursaluna when Louis got his Tailwind up, then this could be a slightly difficult situation for Shohei to try and navigate.
Okay, so the Ursaluna is going to be coming out for Louis, so wanting to reposition that Pokemon. Maybe not confident in the Scale Shot, but more importantly, wanting to take a Grassy Glide into that slot with the Archaladon and start getting those stamina boosts loaded up onto it, because we saw before it's quite difficult to knock out the Archaladon if you don't have the right threats on the field. Now Rillaboom is going to go down to a Struggle Bug, but that's also going to break the multi-scale onto the Dragonite, and that could be really key for being able to knock it out that little bit later. Looks like a Scale Shot went into the Volcarona and didn't connect on this turn.
That's the Dragonite classic. It's the risk with Scale Shot. It's such a powerful move, and getting a speed boost on a move that powerful, an incredibly, incredibly strong move, but only 90% accurate. So 10% of the time, you're not connecting with that, and that damage on Volcarona could have been very important. And like you said, that Archaladon switch in, very nice to catch the Grassy Glide. First of all, not taking very much damage. We see after the Grassy Terrain recovery, this Archaladon is back at full health, but importantly, it does have a defense boost now in front of these two physical attackers on Shohei's side. We see that either the Golden Go or the Ursaluna, at least one of those, has been left on the bench for this game, which leaves one less threat to get through this very physically bulky Archaladon.
Yeah, it's like, the nice thing about Archaladon is that you can go for Draco Meteors into a Dragonite if you're Louis, and then body press afterwards. It's kind of okay because you got the stamina boost. While one stat goes down, the other ones go up instead, and so you can kind of capitalize on that. Louis, though, pretty happy to just get some chip damage down onto Shohei's side of the field, and there's Shohei connecting the Scale Shot this time. After the third one, the Volcarona will activate its Citrus Berry and recover, so it's easily going to be able to take this Scale Shot even if it hits all 5 times. The question is, is afterwards, with the Dragonite now at 2 stages of increased speed, will the Volcarona even be able to act again before this Dragonite gets to launch an attack?
It did look like on turn 1 the Volcarona was faster than Dragonite, able to set up that Tailwind first. So with the Tailwind up and 2 speed boosts on the Dragonite, Volcarona should still be going first, but the question is, what does it do if it's going first? It's not really putting a huge amount of pressure on either of these 2 Pokemon. Dragonite resisting Heat Wave and Struggle Bug. Incineroar also resisting Heat Wave. Struggle Bug, not a very strong move. There's no special attack stats that you want to drop on Shohei's side of the field. So Volcarona doesn't feel like it's making too much impact at the moment, but what it is doing is it's maybe making it difficult for Shohei to use his Terastallization. Because if Dragonite goes for a Terra Fairy, which it likes to do, or if Incineroar goes for maybe a Terra Ghost to try and get around a Body Press from this Archaludon, that's when the Heat Wave can start to punish Shohei's moves.
Yeah, I really like that call out there, but there's a Terastallization getting going. It is on the Incineroar this time round, going indeed for a Terra Ghost. And stopping the Body Press from being a big threat across the board. Now, it doesn't have an Assault Vest to help it survive moves like Draco Meteor, but you can only use those once before your Draco Meteor stops doing too much. As you said, Volcarona did get that Struggle Bug off before the Scale Shot came out, but now this Dragonite is at 3 stages of increased speed. But also 3 stages decreased defense. And so I'm curious to know whether there is a physical attacker in the back for Louis to be able to capitalize on that as the Draco Meteor goes into it. No capitalization required, just a big KO there. Shohei now down to their final 2 Pokemon, and we'll get to see what Pokemon is left in the back as Incineroar goes for the parting shot, dropping even further the stats on Archaludon. But unlike game 1 where it looked like Shohei took a really early lead, now Shohei is on the back foot, and I'm curious to whether this Golden Go and Incineroar as a combination will be enough to be able to make a big comeback in this game 2.
I think this Golden Go is still quite well positioned though, because this Archaludon, as you mentioned, its stats have been dropped very far now. It obviously still has its defense boosts, but Body Press is doing exactly 0 damage into a Golden Go on account of the fact that it is a Ghost type. Golden Go very likely faster than all of the Pokemon on Louis' team, including, crucially, that Ursaluna in the back, which is now on very low HP. So, if Louis isn't able to get some speed control, maybe a Tailwind up, this Ursaluna is going to be a bit of a sitting duck in the back, and this Golden Go does still have the potential to win this game from here.
I think so. I think the question is whether Shohei can find the room to get a nasty plot and really capitalize on it. But with the Incineroar coming in this turn, and offering the fake out support that Dragonite is really not a fan of when it's carrying multi-scale as an ability as opposed to inner focus, the nasty plot does look pretty consistent to be able to get up on this turn. At least Dragonite will be able to protect itself, make sure that multi-scale remains intact.
And that call is correct, the fake out going into the Dragonite. Shohei saying, I don't want you to get that Tailwind up. As we identified, that is a potential win condition for Louis, is getting that speed control, and we do see the nasty plot. It looks like that's going to be a Snarl coming out, but the Golden Go dodges the Snarl. That is critical.
That's a big dodge. That's a massive dodge.
Special attack on the Golden Go. The damage from that Snarl at -3 special attack now. Not particularly relevant. The special attack drop, though, would have been very valuable to help this Archaludon and Dragonite on Louis' side to survive some attacks from the Golden Go.
Tailwind coming out from this Dragonite, but doing it before the Golden Go is able to act. That means the Archaludon is going to be going next, getting the first of its Snarls back up on board. But the Shadow Ball going into Dragonite, I really like this tactic from Shohei, targeting down the Dragonite with a knockoff as well. That's taking away the loaded dice. That's going to mean that the Scale Shot is back to being between 2 and 5 hits. But more important is that Archaludon, if Shohei can knock out either the Dragonite or the Ursaluna, that's going to lock this Archaludon to the field with all of its stamina boosts, but nothing to do with them because it's in front of 2 Ghost-type Pokemon.
Yeah, this is, as you said, Archaludon doesn't really want to be stuck on the field here, but at the same time, you can't afford to switch because the Ursaluna in the back is on such low health. Scale Shot is now coming out. It's going to be very important to see how many hits we get here. That's 3, and it's going to stop at 3. That's what you'd expect from that. It's still good damage, but that Incineroar staying alive for just one more turn, and this Archaludon, like we see those Snarls there, they are, on paper, super effective into both Goldengo and this Terra Ghost Incineroar, but in practice not doing very much damage, but that Shadow Ball in return doing a lot more.
Okay, and so we see the knockoff also coming into the Archaludon, so no worries about attacking it, no worries about the stamina boost because of the body press not being very effective at all. And this is a real test of timing for Shohei. Targeting into the Archaludon for two reasons. One, the Dragonite can protect itself, but two, because Tailwind is up, and you really, if you're Shohei, want to take your first knockout here once Tailwind is about to go down, and preferably on the Dragonite, so that the Tailwind can't get set up again, and the Ursaluna in the back can't just go for Terra Normal, Hyper Voices, Blood Moons, or Earth Powers into either the Goldengo nor the Incineroar.
Like you said, keeping that speed control is going to be Louis' priority here. Protecting that Dragonite to try and keep it on the field so when Draco Meteor coming out for very unimpressive damage into that Incineroar.
Wow. That's some big meteors coming out there from the Archaludon. Unfortunately, yeah, Incineroar can easily take that hit. Knockoff coming back, also doing paltry amounts of damage at this point because Archaludon has boosted up its defense, or has had its defense boosted up so many times. But this is definitely one of those waiting games. Now is the time, I think, that Shohei starts to really go on the offensive, especially since Dragonite protected itself this turn. This is the last turn of Tailwind. And now, with the haze coming out, the Archaludon gets to attack for its full strength.
And it's enough to take out the Incineroar. That's a very, very big knockout. And this Goldengo going down to -1. But Archaludon doesn't have its Assault Vest equipped at the moment because it was knocked off by this Incineroar. Problem is, Goldengo does have to kind of pick and choose who to get a KO, and it does go after the Dragonite, not opting for the Shadow Ball that would have been neutral damage into the Archaludon, maybe enough to KO, saying, okay, I can't afford to let you get that Tailwind up next turn. But right now, it doesn't look like this Archaludon is going to be in range of another Make It Rain after another special attack drop. So, with another Snarl looking to pick up the Goldengo here, I think all Louis needs to do is attack with both and just hope that either you don't miss an attack or you don't get hit by critical
it's the Make It Rain. 4 HP, the Archaludon is able to hang on. The special attack drops from the Snarl after the Make It Rain as well, coming in absolutely clutch here. Ursaluna goes down. Now Louis, with the recoil from the Life Orb, gets to use a perfectly accurate flash cannon. No chance of missing, just like the Snarl is capable of. That's enough to pick up the KO here. And Louis is taking us to game 3.
What a set this is turning out to be. I really like how Louis managed that end game, even with the Snarl miss. And missing your first Snarl is so much worse than missing your 4th Snarl, because that's 3 extra turns of extra damage. So missing that first one on the Goldengo, really impactful, but Louis did such an excellent job of positioning in that end game, setting up a position where, okay, the Dragonite did go down, but he correctly called the Goldengo go for a Shadow Ball into that Dragonite on the previous turn, which set up a position where Shohei had to effectively pick and choose. If you KO my Dragonite this turn, you can't KO both of my Pokemon next turn. And so I'll be able to get an attack off. And again, the recognition there to not try and go for an accurate move, not go for the super effective Snarl, saying, okay, maybe a Flash Cannon wouldn't get the KO on Goldengo from the range it's at now, but there's going to be a turn of Life Orb chip before I get to use my Flash Cannon. And recognizing that, saying, okay, not giving myself a chance to lose this one. If I survive this hit, I'm just going to Flash Cannon, get the KO there. And the Archaludon, just enough HP left, 4 HP at the end of that game to hang on.
So close. And this is... Do you remember what the result of that match was between Shohei and Louis?
It was 2-1 in Shohei's favor. And in fact, I can remember some of the board positions that were being set up by Shohei in that game.
Wow.
Because it was a really, really fascinating match to watch. And that was when Louis was still in the seniors division.
And this is the potentially the second time ever that they have played, because Shohei playing in Japan, Louis playing internationally as well as Shohei, but them being in 2 different age divisions. This is the first time they've probably met on the official circuit live in person. So I can't imagine, like, one, what a great time this will be having a rematch, but also like how tense this is going to be between these two trainers, knowing that they've played each other before and which direction it swung last time round.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how this game 3 goes. Will either of these players be feeling the nerves? Losing round 1, tough position to come back from. Both these players very good, but we'll have to see who comes out on top here. This time we see a mix-up on the lead. The Grimmsnarl and the Golden Go coming out from Louis this time. We didn't see either of those Pokemon last game, so he's switched up his strategy completely, whereas Shohei going for that same Rillaboom Dragonite lead that we saw last time.
Golden Go looking pretty good in this spot. Can't be fake outed, putting a lot of pressure immediately onto Rillaboom and Dragonite. Now it can be targeted down, but actually a lot of the times these Specs Golden Goes, they like to do a little bit of damage, punch a potential hole in your opponent's team, and then to be able to try to use whatever other Pokemon that you have in the back to take advantage of it. Scale Shot going into the Golden Go, though, not going to do too much damage whatsoever.
Yeah, that Reflect being up from the Grimmsnarl with the Prankster ability, always getting to set that up first. Golden Go, pretty happy to take that hit. It does hit all 5 times, but even so, probably not even a quarter of Golden Go's health gone, but a speed boost on Dragonite is maybe the most important thing here. And we see a high horsepower miss from the Rillaboom into the Golden Go.
That's a fast Rillaboom.
It is a fast Rillaboom or a slow Golden Go. But the high horsepower miss there, even through Reflect, that's doing a big chunk of damage. That's a very, very important miss, potentially, for Louis. Can he now capitalize on this? We see him locking into Shadow Ball on the Golden Go here, on the Choice Specs Pokemon, not wanting to click the move that drops your special attack. That does mean that potentially this could be an Ursaluna coming in here to take these normal type attacks for free.
With the specs, you've also got to be really careful about what Pokemon in the back. If Shohei had switched in a Golden Go to a pretty obvious Make It Rain, they could have been very much punished, but Shohei did not fall for that whatsoever. Now they know the Ursaluna is a perfect switch in to this Golden Go because it's locked into Shadow Ball, so it won't affect the normal type Ursaluna, but Louis kind of one stage ahead of that, and getting the Spirit Break would have been doing a lot of damage onto the Dragonite with its defense dropped and being super effective, but equally its secondary effect, dropping the special attack of the Ursaluna on the switch in, kind of a win-win situation for Louis.
And this is, I think, the position that Archaldon really wants to be in. It's got the Reflect up. We saw the high horsepower, even though it was super effective, this Archaldon seemingly trained to be very defensive, not taking too much damage from that. Yet again, we see it switch in on a physical attack to get that stamina boost. The Ursaluna not threatening too much damage with that Spirit Break special attack drop. The biggest worry, I think, here for this Archaldon is going to be Yawn, actually, from Ursaluna.
Yeah, I think so. Grimmsnarl is just getting out of there this turn, though. Louis wanting the support for a little bit later. But whether or not that'll be capitalized on by Shohei, let's see. Woodhammer into that slot. Very dangerous here. Going into that Flame Body Volcarona, but no effect this time round. Just a little bit of damage there. The Snarl coming out, so this Ursaluna is at 2 stages of decreased special attack, or at least half the damage that usually it would be dishing out is what's being dished out to the Volcarona, which is perfectly coming in by just a couple of HP points into Citrus Berry range with the grassy terrain that Shohei set up. I feel like Shohei really worked out how to do very well in game 1, but Louis has adjusted seemingly so well to this matchup and swapped things out in just the right way coming into game 3.
Yeah, that was an excellent turn from Louis, able to reposition into this Volcarona, which is now in a position where last game we saw it stuck on the field in front of 2 Pokemon that resist fire. Now it's against 2 Pokemon. One of them is weak to fire in the Rillaboom. One of them pretty low special defense on the Ursaluna, even if it's trained a lot in that. So it can fire off this Heat Wave. It's going to break the multi-scale on Dragonite. And we've got a lot of chances for burns. We don't get one this time, but Draco Meteor coming out is going to be enough to pick up the Ursaluna.
That's a big KO. That's a big, big KO there. Bear is going home right now. Louis sending it absolutely packing and taking the first Pokemon advantage in game 3. Now, without the Ursaluna, I think if it's the same as before, all hopes are going to rest on this Golden Go to be able to do the special damage that is required to be able to knock out this Archaladon.
Problem is, now this Volcarona is in a really strong position. Volcarona next to Archaladon is a board position that Louis will be very, very happy with, because, like you said, the one threat to this Archaladon now really is this Golden Go. But Volcarona can threaten it with Heat Wave. It can set up Tailwind if Louis decides he wants speed control. And if the Golden Go goes for a Terastallization, now it's making itself much weaker to that body press.
Yeah. Okay, so protect from the Golden Go there, not taking any damage this turn. But this does allow Louis' Volcarona to just get that Heat Wave going. Certainly something that Shohei's going to try to take advantage of.
Another
here.
miss!
Every time, every opportunity that Shohei has had to try and dish out some damage, this Dragonite is just not, unfortunately, getting an opportunity to get those hits out to protect its Golden Go partner. Because Golden Go's, even though Golden Go's a little bit on the back foot against this Volcarona, Dragonite was able to hit that Volcarona with a Scale Shot. I would put it into range where Golden Go maybe would have been able to finish the job.
I think the most important thing there is the lack of speed boost on the Dragonite. That's the thing with running Scale Shot, is that so often if you miss your Scale Shot, your whole line in that game can fall apart. We saw that there. Not able to get up a Tailwind on Shohei's side, for example, after missing that Scale Shot, because it was still slower than the Volcarona. Volcarona from Louis' end, taking the KO on the Dragonite, big damage down on the Golden Go, and now it's at -1 special attack as well, thanks to the Snarl. This Archaladon is looking like it's going to be very, very difficult to get through, and so is this Volcarona at this point, with the only two Pokemon left being the Golden Go and the Rillaboom.
Well, the trouble for this Volcarona is that it's not taking that damage. It's used its Citrus Berry. That's kind of a tick in Shohei's camp, but aside from that, it's faster than the Rillaboom. It looks like it's faster than maybe the Golden Go. And Louis can just opt to protect it until it's in a good enough position to be able to attack into. Grimmsnarl isn't really doing too much work in this particular scenario, but the only move that Golden Go has to knock it out is a Make It Rain, which is going to drop its special attack. And here's Shohei fighting back as best they can. Second nasty plot here. This is exactly what Shohei needs. Enough nasty plots, you'll get through the Volcarona.
You will, but can you get through the Volcarona and the Archaladon at the same time? The fake out into Archaladon from Shohei gives Louis' Archaladon another defense boost, which again just powers up these body presses. So there's potentially a risk for this Rillaboom taking these body presses now in these next couple of turns.
Shadow Ball after the light screen going into the Archaladon, and the light screen definitely allowing it to hang on. It would have hung on otherwise, but definitely making it much, much more comfortable for Louis here. Here's the high horsepower though, with all those stamina boosts. Not enough to be able to pick up the KO. Shohei fishing for the critical hit there. That would have kept him in the game 100%. As the Snarl comes out, not enough to pick up the KO on the Golden Go. Looks like grassy terrain will take it out of range of being knocked out to its own next attack with the Life Orb, but there's not many attacks that this Golden Go has left in the tank.
Yeah, like you said, the Life Orb, the grassy terrain will run out reasonably soon. That Life Orb chip may be the nail in the coffin, I think, for this Golden Go, because it's very limited in how many attacks it can fire off, and I don't know if it's got enough to take out all of Louis' Pokemon before that, but we're going to see Shohei give it its best go. That is a double KO on this turn. The special defense drop from the Shadow Ball last turn playing into that, I think, allowing this Golden Go to get the KO on the Archaladon, but this Volcarona in the back is looking very, very scary.
Not only that, there's a Specs Golden Go in the back as well. We don't know what the speed interactions are between these two Golden Go that are left on the field. What we do know is that Louis is going to have to go on the offensive. It's going to have to attack in some way, shape or form. I guess it could trick off the Assault Vest from the Rillaboom and allow Volcarona to be doing some good work. But this is where Shohei's got two Pokemon that resist Make It Rain, and Shohei's got a big Make It Rain that would like to take a double KO, but probably isn't going to be able to find its mark.
See, I don't think the speed order between the Golden Goes matters here. The only thing that matters is the speed on this Volcarona, because it's going to be able to set up a Tailwind before anything else on the field moves. Louis doesn't have to risk going for a Heat Wave miss, doesn't have to risk a Struggle Bug maybe not quite getting the KO on the Golden Goat, because the Terra Steel specs Make It Rain is always going to be enough to pick this up. We see the Protect come out from Shohei on that Golden Goat, but
okay.
Tailwind Make It Rain still looking very scary. The Terra Fire on the Rillaboom, though, with this Golden Goat locked into Make It Rain, it's got a finite amount of HP left, but maybe with a couple of critical hits, there is a chance that Shohei could wriggle his way out of this one. But that's so much damage. That's not the critical hit that Shohei wanted.
No, not at all. I think this, from a critical hit, this could be in range. But the Golden Go avoids the attack there. Not going to be taking any damage whatsoever. That should seal the game here with the Tailwind for Louis. Just has to find his mark with the Heat Wave. And now, you know, you could argue that maybe it's a Struggle Bug that you lock into with a Volcarona alongside that Terra Steel Make It Rain. You could easily have enough damage there to be able to knock out this Rillaboom. But Louis, not wanting to take that risk, just saying, I'm going to hit my Heat Wave, does onto the Rillaboom this turn. And now the follow-up of the Make It Rain on the Golden Go, hitting down into that Rillaboom.
And Rillaboom does go down to that Make It Rain. And that should all but seal this up. I guess maybe it's technically possible, but I think the Terra Steel Make It Rain, even at -2 special attack from Louis, is going to be enough to pick up this Golden Go, especially now that it's only aiming at one target.
Yes, I think that's the key. It's got slightly more powerful than it would have done otherwise. The grassy terrain has ended, so that recovery lifeline that Shohei had has ended. Now Louis gets to settle the score, going to be winning round 1 here at the Latin America International Championships, 2-1.
Feels like a rough game for Shohei. There were a couple of misses in there, like 2 high horsepower misses, a scale shot miss in game 2 and game 3, the critical hit on the Rillaboom as well.
Yeah.
But that's the risk you take. There were a lot of opportunities for Louis to have something go in his favor. Switching into Volcarona on the Woodhammer, there's the Flame Body opportunity there, a lot of opportunities for Heat Wave burns, for example. So it does look unlucky for Shohei, but on balance, I think that's actually not that unfortunate, given how much Louis was playing to give himself opportunities for things to go in his favor.
Yeah, I think that's the real key here, and the other part of that is the way that Louis was able to change up the game plan for game 3 was really, really big, saying, well, I haven't brought the Golden... We didn't see them right at the start of game 1, but certainly game 2, we didn't see the Golden Go nor the Grimmsnarl, but that was a really nice way to lead things off, and I think Louis just got themselves into a really good spot, going for the Shadow Ball, trying to fish for the Golden Go on the switch-in, then punishing the Ursaluna that was telegraphed in because the Specs Golden Go was locked into a Ghost-type move, but actually just not hanging around. Like, Ursaluna comes in, Golden Go comes out. Then it can come back in later on to finish the job. I'd love to have seen how the game progressed with the scale shot from Shohei connecting onto the Volcarona. It wouldn't have gone down because of the reflect that was up on Louis' side at that point in the game, but it would have made things a lot more tight. And I think these are, especially when you've got 2 players of this level of skill, you just want to see every single thing connect, right? And just see like the skill expression that comes with that. But I think what we got to see is how Louis took advantage of those bits of good fortune and locked out Shohei from even having a chance to come back, even with those couple of nasty plots in the end game.
I think that's a really underrated part of skill expression in Pokemon, is managing probability, because like you said, you want to see everything hit, but at the same time, if everything hits all the time, then that's not necessarily skill expression. If you're clicking a 90% accurate move, you have to have the skill to be aware that it's going to miss 10% of the time and know how to play around that. Know when you need to go for the inaccurate moves. We saw in the end of game 2 there, for example, Louis not taking those chances, going for the Flash Cannon on the last turn instead of the Snarl, being aware that you do have that win condition. And we saw at the end of that game as well, we didn't see the final turn play out, but he locked in a Struggle Bug because he, I guess, thought that if there is any chance at all that Golden Go on Shohei's side hung on from that single target Terra Steel Make It Rain, even at -2, he'd only need a little bit more chip damage. So you don't need to worry about any misses or anything there. So there's a degree of skill in playing around those probabilities. And I think, like I said, Louis gave himself so many opportunities with Heatwave burns, with dodging scale shots, with the flame body on the Rillaboom as the Volcarona switched in there, that something is bound to go his way at some point.
And look, when you lock in your team, you've got to be locking in aware of those things as well. Scale shot in particular. I mean, how many trainers this regulation set H have just locked in scale shot on Dragonite? Because even if you do miss occasionally, and it is a small percentage of the time, but even if you do miss, how much benefit do you get from all of the times that you are landing scale shot and it doing so much damage and giving you the speed boosts and getting you into Tailwind more effectively, and going for Haze when you've got a speed boost so that you can take away advantages that other trainers, maybe nasty plots from the Golden Gaze. You have to take the rough with the smooth in a lot of team building choices, and I think scale shot is definitely the key example of that in our format right now.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of risk-rewarded Pokemon, especially in Regulation Set 8. There's a lot of Pokemon that really play around with that RNG element. We see Sneasel a lot. We saw it last week in the Las Vegas finals as well, with that very, very clutch freeze on the Porygon 2.
The freeze, yeah.
In isolation, it looks very lucky, but if you think about the fact that I think there was 5 PP left on that Ice Beam at the end, so there were 11 Ice Beams clicked that game. The chances of one of them getting a freeze somewhere, pretty high. And it happened at the most dramatic possible time. So clearly there was some internal coding that was programmed to give us the best possible cinema.
And you've got to go for your outs in those situations. So we're going to go for our outs in this situation right now. We're going to be going to a short break, but we'll be back very soon as we have our second match here at the Latin America International Championships.